Hello, I'm Angajează-te, and I welcome you to this masterclass in which I will explain to you how to acknowledge the universe in a different way through your own self, through your own body. To introduce myself a little bit, I was born in Argentina in 1987, and since I was born, I was able to remember everything that I've done before I was born. Because of that, most of the people calls me a rememberer, someone who remembers his past lives, that remembers the universe, and that has its purpose to be a rememberer of all the information that makes us be who we are. For me, the word remember encodes all my mission and purpose in this life, because during my childhood, everything that I did was to remember who I was, all the histories that I live, all the stories in past lives, in other dimensions, in the universe, and that gave me an understanding of the entire existence of my entire life in this reality, that helped me to know a little bit about how the universe works in my own unique perspective. As I was growing up, I shared this with my friends, with my family, and they didn't took me as a crazy person, they took me as a creative person. So they encouraged me to tell the stories, they encouraged me to share with them, because my family was agnostic and didn't have any religious background or religious environment. They took everything that I had within me, not as a spiritual thing, but as an artistic expression. Because of that, I was able to make the drawings, to tell the stories, to share with my friends without being afraid of being criticized or judged by what I was receiving. And after my 12 years old, I started to remember mainly one past life that I had no idea why I was remembering that, but it makes complete sense in all my mission throughout my entire life. The first memory that I got when I was 12 years old was me as a woman in Egypt. It was an Atlantean colony 12,000 years ago during the last glaciation. And there I remember my family, my friends, and through the love I had for them, I started to remember the culture, tradition, the stories, and of course the civilization and why that civilization existed. One of the main images that I got from it was the Great Sphinx being a lion, and behind it there was one of the pyramids. I don't remember the three of them, I remember only one of them, and I recall being inside of it and someone explaining me how they were portals to access the entire information of the universe. Basically, what we learned in that civilization was that we are cells in a living organism, which is the cosmos, and that in order to connect with the entire universe, we have to become a seed of the tree of life. So the pyramids were a design, an architectural design that shaped the seed of all creation, which is an octahedron. And this octahedron would give us access to the Merkaba, which is the two tetrahedrons. And the two tetrahedrons would shape the hexahedron, the cube, related to Metatron, all the potentials of the archangels. And opening the box of Metatron, we would have the power of the potestats, the creators itself, through the dodecahedron. And that would open the whole universe to us through the shape of the icosahedron. So the structures of the main geometrical patterns were the key to open the entire tree of life towards the entire universe. And by us going inside the pyramids, we were able to access all the information. Because of that memory of me being with my loving ones inside the pyramid, connecting with that, expansion of reality, I was able to remember and to feel what it was the universe, what was me through the universe. And when I was 16 years old, because of those memories, I access to contact for the first time my higher self, and this higher self, my true self, was showing me the laws, the patterns of every existence, the patterns of the universe, and the information itself on what was my purpose here. My purpose basically was to remember, but the literal term of remember, which is to put all the members together, all the different parts that has been separated in the creation, give a logic, a meaning to it in the shape of a net. So since I was 12 till I was 16, I started to remember all my past lives and what have I done during my path in this planet and also in other planets and other dimensions. And from my 16 till my 19 years old, I started to remember my purpose, what I have to do with all these memories of my past lives, going around the world, connecting the different parts, recreating the net of consciousness, and putting together all the people that also remember to be together in this net that can recreate the memory of who we are in this planet, with the goal of downloading heaven on earth. Heaven on Earth was the name of my first talk when I was 21, and it tried to explain something that I call the universal plan, in which step by step, according to my own memories, I started to explain how the universe created itself, how it started to design this reality, and how all the traditions and spiritual beings that we usually talk about, how they are created and how they are not only through the universe but also within us. As I started to expand my message throughout many conferences and workshops around the world, I gained vocabulary to explain all my knowledge of all the things that I remembered from the people that were attending the talks. They were helping me to earn the vocabulary to explain what is the spiritual realm, what is a dimension, what is Metatron. All the concepts that I now can explain were shared by the people that were around me, putting a name to what I was saying. Everything that I remember in a different language. So I was using the word protecta to describe the cube of Metatron, for example. So I had to learn a new vocabulary to express and to communicate everything that I was explaining as a child. Everything that I know and that I share today, it's been improved every time that I move around the world and open a new data in every mountain, every pyramid, every tree. So all the information that I'm sharing is not something that I learned, it's something that I am opening every time that I move around the world, that I am receiving by talking to the planet and talking to this reality. This took me to go all around the world doing projects like Harwitum, that took me around the 7 continents in 40 countries just in 6 months to reconnect a network of the Kundalini of the planet. And that took me to make many other projects where people were joined into initiatic paths around the entire planet, going to public squares to make talks and activations and meditations where people could put their own part in all of this, not just as people learning, but also activating their own memories in action. This brought me to create big gatherings such as the one in Egypt in 2022 and then in Argentina at the end of 2022, where we all, like thousands of people, got together in order to activate all the geometry of the planet from the Great Pyramid of Giza. The same place, where I remember that we had to do that 12,000 years ago, where I learned how to do it, 12,000 years after that, I call these people that once lived there too, and they feel the same memory to do the work together, to reactivate a part of that information in order to download this heaven on earth. And the way I am doing it is by sharing the initiatic path. In my past lives, what I learned is that we humans are cells in this divine universe, and that we can also become creators by following certain steps. These steps in the ancient cultures, we call it initiatic path. And it was a path through nature, through the river Nile, or through a rainforest, or through an island, that usually helped us to walk towards ourselves. Like in every temple, in every pyramid, we were working in one of our chakras. We were working in one of our aspects of our glands, our knees, our feet, our hands, our heart, our brain. And in each one of these parts, we were opening ourselves from the physical, biological aspect towards the universe. And the universe was expressed and experienced inside of that part of the body. So by relearning this process, by walking this earth, by remembering every step of this path, what I have done was to design different ways related to this initiatic path, so I can share with people the main knowledge going step by step in this initiatic path within ourselves. And this is what I'm sharing in these classes. What I'm going to share is a short explanation of each one of the chakras related to the entire universe. And the idea of doing this path all together is to open our own memory to the universe, open our own knowledge from the universe to our own life. The idea is to recognize that every human is a door towards the cosmic reality, and that if we know how to use the gates of our own temple, which is our body, we can access the information of every dimension. All the structure that is in the universe is a fractalization, and we are a fractal of God. We are a fractal of the cosmos. So by acknowledging which are the nodes, the lines, the patterns, the matrix that we have formed in our bodies, we can find the map on how to access the other dimensions and how to access our higher self. And this is what I'm sharing in these classes. The idea of tracing a map, so you could find the way in which you could activate your own knowledge in this. Everything that I'm going to share, everything that I'm going to teach is not the truth. It's not the actual truth. It's just one tiny part, which is my own truth. And my own truth is part of a great sphere that we all shape together by discovering who we are. So every one of the truth that we awake within ourselves help the other part to find the missing link, so we can start to shape the sphere all together. So my part is to design a map so you can find your own way and your own personal path towards the core of the universe. I invite you to take all this information as a map, simply that, as a way to move through this reality, but trying to figure out and find your own tools on how to design your own path inside this map. What you're going to receive in these teachings is a way to relate the biggest macrocosmos with the smallest microcosmos. How we can relate our cells, our DNA, with the entire tree of life in a galaxy. The idea of that is to activate the potential that the entire universe had created for us and that we forgot just by thinking that we are disconnected from everything. So by acknowledging the links between the whole cosmos and our own simple bodies here and now, we can access to the potential that can change our lives, that can transform our realities, and that can gives us the way to become divine here in this third dimension. Step by step, we will walk through the 9 chakras of our body, starting from our feet to our crown. In every one of the chakras, we will give a specific task that you can use every week in order to activate a specific information related to that portal in our body. Acknowledging that the universe is within you is something that for centuries and millenniums, a lot of people were trying to do and explain. So we have many different ways to access this information. In this course, in these 9 classes, what we will do is to figure out a specific way in which we can access our own information. How can we open these portals and how everything is connected to our bodies. My culture in the River Nile was created by what we today call the Atlanteans. They were basically constant immigrants and emigrants in the world because they were expelled from every territory that they were living in, and they learned how to expand to the world. And the very old tradition for them was how to sail, how to walk, how to expand. And this kept the tradition of our very early humanity, which was how to walk through the planet, how to learn to follow the stars, how to move on, and how to interpretate each one of the places where they were going. The Atlantean culture was all about taking the initiatic path, taking steps towards the reality that could take us to the steps towards our own selves. This is why the masters, our teachers in that culture, taught us how to walk the stars on earth. They said that every temple and pyramid that they were building, it was a representation of heaven here on earth, so we could actually leave the stars in this world. So we can actually go inside the core of these stars, of these worlds outside, and activate their potential within. By that, what they were teaching us is that in the sky, there was an initiatic path that the gods would take in every equinox and solstice. There was this path of the constellations. 12,000 years ago or 15,000 years ago, it was the first initiatic path through the stars that we call today the zodiac. The zodiac is this specific path that conditioned our life, and we interpreted this path in the stars. Today we think that there are constellations affecting us, but actually what it's describing is what is happening to Earth and to the living beings on Earth when those stars are in the sky. By this interpretation, they said that the gods and goddesses, which are these different stars, were teaching us aspects on how to survive or how to deal with what was happening on Earth. So they were guiding us in order to activate potentials of the divine. We understood in that time that everything was one, everything was a whole unique thing that was divided in different parts. So it's like a sun with all these different rays of sun, the different rays of light. And so the creation itself is like divided in all the bright of the different stars that we call gods and goddesses, but actually they are all just parts of only one being.